Was this the best SmackDown of the year? By default,
Probably.
because SmackDown's not very good normally. Welcome
I mean,
to the
I think
WrestleTalk
so.
Podcast review. I think so as well, Angela. Hello, welcome to the WrestleTalk Podcast review of SmackDown and Rampage. I am joined not by Tempest this week. I'm joined by Angela from Hobby Night. Yay!
Hello.
Hi. How are you doing today, Angela?
I'm doing all right. SmackDown was, in fact, pretty good. I was pleasantly surprised when I watched it last night.
Me too. Get in your Ultrachats to WrestleTalk.com/support. We're going to go through all the ones that are $5 and up by the time the show goes off the air. And yeah, let's talk about the segment that I think sums up my view of this show, because it was fine, which is significantly better than normal. Was this Ronda Rousey segment? Because obviously she won the SmackDown Women's Championship at WrestleMania Backlash. And after we got a little recap of them being like, oh, after Rousey broke Flair's arm, she's the new champion. She made her say, I quit. Here she comes. And I was like, you know what? If they want to do a little 15-second recap, I'm okay with that. That's cool. And then, of course, we had an ad break. And then we had a full video recap for like 2.5 minutes of them recapping the thing they just talked about, which is super cool.
What they do a lot, I feel like. And I really feel like, you guys, please stop.
Legit. But she came out. And she did a promo, which wasn't very good. Rousey's not a very good talker, generally. But she said she's going to do an open challenge. And it got answered by Raquel Rodriguez, which I thought was a really pleasant surprise.
Yes, I was so cool. Like, I was so excited by that.
Yeah, it was really, really nice and refreshing to have someone new who obviously is fresh on the main roster, and someone who hadn't been in that kind of title contention. It's her second match only on SmackDown. And not only that, it was a nice surprise for her to actually accept the challenge, but I also really appreciated the booking of the match in that Rodriguez got a ton of offense in this match, which I really did not expect.
I was not expecting that either. When I was watching the match, I was like, I'm expecting Ronda to just squash her and move on. And they actually gave them time, and Raquel got offense and like actually did some stuff to Ronda, which was fantastic. It was great.
Yeah, I thought this was really, really good, because not only did Rodriguez get offense in, but Rousey barely got anything in. And they had a reason for it, in that Rousey's not 100% after a I Quit match. So maybe she's made a poor choice by doing the open challenge here. And Raquel was able to use that to her advantage and get in a bunch of offense. And she was countering a bunch of Ronda stuff. Like, she looked really good in the match. Not just like, it's like the standard, like, formulaic beatdown of a baby face, and then it's just a bit boring because it's slow and methodical. This was not that. This was Ronda trying to come back into it, and Raquel constantly having a counter for something she was going to do, and looking really good in the progress. And Ronda just managed to get a roll-up victory, and this is when roll-up victories, when they're done right, are really good. This was really effective in the storytelling of the match.
Exactly. Like, I also was kind of surprised. I mean, I wasn't surprised that they did the roll-up, but I didn't immediately like loathe it, because I felt like it was necessary for this match, with the way that like Raquel was just kind of beating up Ronda for a little bit because of her injuries. I mean, you saw bruises and stuff on Ronda too, so it's a totally legit like story. I was really surprised and kind of annoyed when she first came out and announced the open challenge, because I felt like she was just doing generic babyface stuff again, which I just loathe, because I'm like, you're using a heel's music. What is your expectation here? But I don't know. It was still ended up being a really good match, though. Like, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, and I think for me, this is kind of like the main crux of what made this SmackDown better, because this is a segment and a feud with the feud with Flair that I've been pretty critical of. I think it's not been a very good build. They had a good segment last week on the go home angle, which was just like a brawl. But generally, it's been this kind of stuff that's been kind of dragging the show down. Whereas now, this has become a very good segment. It really elevated a lot of segments that were around it as well. I think this is kind of one of the biggest ones where it's gone from, this was bad before, and now it's been good on this episode. And a lot of the other stuff that was also good on this show felt a little bit more combined. It felt a lot more like a cohesive show. And that,
I completely agree.
Makes this a much better show overall. Yeah, this was a really good look for Raquel. I really enjoyed a lot of the offense that she got in. she looked good in the offense as well. Like, it was an impressive showing. It wasn't just like, she hit a big boot or, she hit a big clothesline, which, by the way, she did hit both and they both looked great. But like, she was lining up for her finishes and stuff like that. She looked really, really good.
She did. She looked amazing. And like, again, I just am very impressed they actually let her get as much offense on like Ronda there, because just with Ronda's attitude ever since she's entered the company and everything, it just really felt like she wanted to be protected, get all the baby face glory, but not actually take the bumps specifically or do some of that, I don't know, put over other people. And I actually feel like this did a good job of like showcasing Raquel's strength and like really establishing her as like a kind of a powerhouse.
Absolutely, yeah. And after the match as well, they had a handshake, which I liked. Kind of put Raquel over a little bit more. Genuinely, this made me feel like Raquel could be a future women's champion, which is not something I say a lot about a lot of WWE's booking, especially of their women's division, because it just feels like placeholders a lot of the time. Whereas this is like, hey, this is someone you should care about. And they did that really successfully.
Yeah, for the first time in a while.
Yeah, exactly, right? For the first time in a while. See, this is the thing. This is going to be the running theme throughout this whole podcast, is that this wasn't necessarily a good episode. This was just like better than normal, and it was fine. It was fine episode. Yeah. And
there were some good moments. There were some cool moments, but like overall it was just a fine episode.
Yeah, this was fine. And I will take that. I will take a fine episode over what the rest of this year has been, because boy howdy, it's not been good.
Yeah, it really hasn't.
Keep getting in your Ultrachats, by the way, to WrestleTalk.com/support, because we'll go through the rest of it later. But there's obviously some like some stuff that wasn't great on the rest of the show, but just the fact that they had, I think, a really interesting character in Sami Zayn has kind of like a really nice through line through this episode. They have cool moments, like, and all the stuff we'll talk about in more detail later, but they had cool moments thrown in, such as like the Gunther Walter stuff backstage of him like just chopping Drew Gulak was awesome. And having like the potentially really good thing about the tag title unification match for next week, which I don't know if that's actually happening or not, because
I don't know either.
It didn't happen last time.
I want it to, I think, though, at this point.
Yeah.
I think I just want it to happen at this point.
Yeah, I want it to happen as well. I think it could be really fun, but I have no faith that they're going to do it, because they didn't do it last time. So why would I believe that it's going to happen this time? Talk about that more later. But the fact that you had these kind of cool moments, and like, the really good opening match between Riddle and Sami Zayn, and kind of the through line of RK Bro on this show, and kind of the final segment with the bloodline and all that stuff. It was like all these good moments that were peppered throughout the show.
Yes.
It felt like you had a lot more. There was much less space between the good moments on this show. Whereas sometimes when you watch a SmackDown, it's like there's one good moment here, there's one good moment here, and there's a ton of like crap in the middle. It felt like this time there was every few segments or something, there was something really good coming out of it. So that made it feel like a much more cohesive show to me. So overall, big improvement, big thumbs up for me for this SmackDown. But I don't know whether it was actually good, as the thumbnail said, or whether it was just better than normal, and that made it feel better. I don't know.
We'll have to see what they do like going forward, because if they continue this, then I'm just going to look at it and go like, all right, cool, they got their stuff together and they figured something out, and now they have some actual storylines and plots and something for me to care about. But otherwise, I'm kind of expecting it to just like go back to normal. Like, I really am curious with the Ronda Open Challenge thing, whether or not how long is that challenge actually going to continue? How many of the women are actually going to get to challenge her before she ends up just back in another title match with like Charlotte or something like that?
Absolutely right. Like, I don't know how long Charlotte's going to be taking time off for. Obviously, they have the injury angle of her broken arm, so she can take some time off, but I don't know how long she's going to be off for. And it's a good point about the open challenges as well. Do you feel like that's like just like a played out format at this point? Because it was 2016 when John Cena did the US title open challenge, which was like the best. That was the good one, right? That set the standard.
I mean, Kevin Owens like being one of so good. So good. Yeah, but so with WWE, I do feel like it's played out. I kind of think it's played out across the board, but I at least feel like when AEW does it, it's means a little bit more. Whereas what WWE does, it's just a way for whoever currently has the championship to squash a bunch of people.
Sure.
Oftentimes in my experience with it. But like if Ronda continues to have matches like she did with Raquel and actually continues and does this for a while, I will genuinely be more impressed with her because I really just do not like her as a performer. But I will be more impressed with her and I think have a little bit more respect for her because then she's like really put in work to make the belt mean something, to make her reign mean something, rather than just expecting to come down and get the fanfare she thinks she deserves, even though I don't think she's earned it.
Yes. I mean, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I totally agree. I'm not a huge fan of Ronda. I've said so before. But I think, if she can keep doing stuff like this, where she where she's selling for other people properly, and it's not just Charlotte and Becky, and you have other people that are kind of in the rotation of challenging her, looking good, and Ronda's putting over people, even in defeat. Like here, Raquel looked better in defeat than when she went in. She keeps doing stuff like that. This could be a really good title reign for Ronda.
Exactly. The other thing she could also do is maybe get a mouthpiece so that she can stop doing promos because she kind of sucks at them.
Yep. Stop having her do promos, please.
I need her to have, like, I don't really want it to specifically be Paul Heyman or anything like that, although I do think he'd be a great manager for her. But I need her to have somebody like Mark Sterling to just...
Right.
Like, obviously he can't because he's in AEW. But if there was somebody in WWE who could, like, take that role and do that for her, I feel like it would be immediately so much better.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I really feel like she has really good physicality in the ring. Like she has physical charisma. She just doesn't have vocal charisma.
Correct.
And that's the bit that if you just filled in that piece, I feel like there's a really magic combination there. But yeah, I just feel like she's a little bit lacking in that right now. But to be more positive, because that was the point of me trying to do the best SmackDown of the year be more positive. But
no, she did. She did
much better than
very good. Yes, she did very good with this match. Absolutely. Like completely loved this match in comparison to anything else I've seen her do.
Absolutely, yes. Well, let's get into some of your Ultra Chats right now. Keep sending those into WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll go through the rest of them later. $5 and up are the ones we're going to be reading out. Manuel Cifuentes, on the subject of Rampage, going straight in with Rampage chats rather than SmackDown. Sup Q and welcome aboard, Angela. Hope Tempest is doing all right. Was kind of looking forward to hearing his rant about last night's Rampage main event. WTF was that? They had something with Scorp and could have had Paige turn on him at some point down the road. I mean, we'll talk about that in more detail later. But yeah, I was a little bit about that main event angle. I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I'm not really sure either. I mean, I think overall I'm fine with it because it's still like I don't want Men of the Year to break up yet. So, and I also don't want Scorpio Sky to go face yet. And so I think I was okay with it. Like I expected that, so I wasn't really shocked when it happened. I guess maybe it's predictable, and that's kind of the issue there. But overall, I enjoyed the match. So
I think it's a little bit. We'll talk about it more later when we talk about Rampage. But I think the whole story with the TNT title and faces and heels and stuff swapping is really, really muddy right now. But we'll talk about that more later. On the subject of just general WrestleTalk stuff, Charles Berg says, show was good, but you know what is even better? The Contemplation Couch, hosted by Pete Quinnell. Thank you if you've been watching my news episodes. That's a bit that I've been doing.
I have. I like it. I think it's a good
bit. See, the thing is, it was supposed to be a one-off. It was just supposed to be a one-time thing. And then people were like, oh my God, this sofa bit's really funny. And I was like, okay, I'll do it one more time. And I did it last week. And I was like, okay, that's going to be the last one because I've blown it off now. I subverted the expectations because I was like, you know what? I'll just go on it. And then I won't actually do it. I'll just, and that's it. Sofa bit done. And then I did it again this week because I can't, if people say they really like something, I just got to do it.
Exactly. I mean, it's clearly your new gimmick.
Exactly, right. Yeah, Contemplation Couch. Charles Berg continues to say, I saw your parkour vid. It's not as cringe as a rap I did with my brother over 15 years ago. That video still exists somewhere on YouTube, FYI. Boy, old videos sure are cringe, huh? Like
They are.
Boy.
But you know what? It's fun to maybe go back and look and see how much you've grown. Much like SmackDown has improved, we've all improved.
We've all improved. Exactly. Hannah Allen says, hello, lovely souls. I love AEW, Dynamite and Rampage, BTE, and WrestleTalk coverage, obviously. Everything still kicks butt. Lots of love and positive vibes. Just a message to let you guys know we love and support you. Hashtag LIW444 life. Hashtag Jam That Jam. Hashtag Fandy. Hashtag DAD. Hashtag I Just Love WrestleTalk. That's a lot of hashtags. Thank you, Hannah Allen. Appreciate you. We'll get into more of your Ultra Chats later. Keep sending those in. WrestleTalk.com/support. For now, let's talk about the rest of SmackDown. Let's review this show, which kicked off with RK Bro coming out to call out the Bloodline, specifically Roman, because they said on Raw they wanted to do a tag title unification match.
Yep.
And then they specifically said on this show, they're like, Roman Reigns is really the guy that calls all the shots because the Usos don't have any balls. So out you come, Roman. But instead, I loved this. Sami Zayn answered, wearing a Bloodline t-shirt.
It was great.
Oh, just
Sammy, and actually RK Bro are two of the best things in WWE right now, specifically on SmackDown, especially. But like, holy cow, I loved this segment.
This was so good. I am loving Sammy's character right now.
Yes.
That kicked off last week of him just trying to get involved with the Bloodline and just trying to like weasel his way into like Roman's protection. Oh, it's so perfect for Sammy's character.
It's a great transition from what he was doing because it still builds on that character, but it's evolved it, and I love it.
Exactly, yeah. So he came out and was saying that he's the locker room leader. He's the guy who makes the shots around here and all that stuff, which is, again, it's perfect for Sami. And he fits the character so well. I also don't understand how Riddle has the power to take bad lines that are fed to him and still make them funny. How does he do that? He's a wizard.
Yeah, I mean, he is, unlike Jericho, who thinks he's a wizard, but I think Riddle might actually be the wizard.
Yeah, I think so, because
he is amazing. Like I did when he came to the company, I did not expect to like love his character as much as I do. And then when he teamed with Orton, it just exploded even more so because they just juxtapose each other so well.
Exactly, right? I don't understand how Riddle can take a line which says, I'm going to call you Rusty because your hair is the color of rust, which is objectively a bad line.
Yes.
And he can just say it and everyone goes, yeah, it's funny. Let's chant Rusty. And everyone just starts to, like, how does he do it?
I think it's just like it's the cadence. I think that he just delivers it at. I mean, it's also probably because he's probably high. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah, probably.
And so it probably is just that because he finds it hilarious. So he delivers it hilariously, and then it just works. Yeah,
I guess so. But in this segment, I really like that Orton kind of stroked Sammy's ego and was like, hey, you know what? Yeah, you are the shot caller around here. You do stuff. Last week, you were the one who took action against Shinsuke Nakamura. You're clearly the shot caller around here. You're the brains. And Sammy's like, yeah, I am. Yeah, thanks, Orton. That's really amazing. And Orton just saying, all right, well, if you've got the power to do that, why don't you do it right now? Sami versus Riddle. And if Riddle wins, then we get our tag title unification match. And Sami was like, well, I mean, don't know if I can do that. And he's like, come on, you're the shot caller. And he's like, yeah, all right, I'll make the match. But then he said, but it's not going to be for tonight. It will be some other time. Goes to leave. Out comes Adam Pearce with his mysterious general manager, not the general manager powers. I don't know where his jurisdiction is. And says, let's make the match for right now, but also there's no stipulation for the tag title unification match. Sure. Cool. Yep, why not? Which kicked into Riddle versus Sami Zayn. Which was awesome.
Yeah.
Really loved this match. Such a fun match because there was some really fun action back and forth. Obviously, both of these guys are fantastic wrestlers. Really like that they got given time. They had loads of near falls towards the end. Some really good looking moves. I can't get over how great Sami Zayn's Michinoku driver is. It's so good.
It's so good. I mean, I've always loved Sami Zayn ever since like I started watching NXT. And he continues to just be amazing.
Yeah. Every single time. He always knocks it out the park. This was just a really, really fun match. I love that Riddle is just consistently adding more and more offense from Randy Orton into his arsenal. It's so good.
Yes.
This just built to a really natural crescendo towards the end where Riddle hit the Bro Derek for the win.
Yep.
Great. Gave Riddle a win that he really needed after getting pinned at Backlash.
Yeah, he gets pinned so much. I mean, I know he takes it for Randy and everything, but like I do love seeing him actually get a win.
Yeah. And I think it's a much needed win. Obviously, it's against Sami, who hasn't really been built up too much, but like he got the win last week against Shinsuke, so like he'd been built up a little bit at least. So this was good. This was a very fun, solid opening match that furthered a story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thumbs up from me. So yeah,
same for me.
This is a very good start to the show, I thought. The Bloodline were backstage saying that they'll have an answer for RK Bro tonight. Cool. Not much more to that. Sami Zayn is backstage. Shinsuke approaches him and says that if Roman is the head of the table, then Sami must be the table's ass.
Yes. Great.
Sure.
Sure. Yep. That does make sense.
Yep. It makes perfect sense to me. We then got the Ronda Rousey Open Challenge that we mentioned earlier, which again was just like another like, okay, this is a good show. Yeah. We had a good opening segment, good follow-up. Okay, this is good.
The curve, I feel like, is going well.
Exactly, right? Yeah. And Aaliyah and Shotzi were backstage, and they were annoyed that they didn't get to the ring on time to get their title opportunity, which was fine.
Yeah, I also would love to see Shotzi go up. Like, I don't know what that match would actually look like, but I love Shotzi. She's local in my area, so like I want to see her do more. I want to see her get the SmackDown Championship, and I think her against Ronda would be interesting because I feel like they have very drastically different styles.
I think if they actually got given time, it might be good because I think when they wrestled, it was in the Beat the Clock I Quit challenge, which lasted like a minute. Yeah. So if Shotzi actually got time to be built up and stuff, then yes, I agree because I really like Shotzi. She's great. I guess I like the fact that it feels like more people cared about the Open Challenge than just Raquel. Like there were other people that wanted to accept the challenge but didn't. This was good. Then we got Madcap Moss. Okay, so I don't like Madcap Moss. I don't think that's a hot take. I think he could be fine if he completely changed his gimmick and did something else because he's obnoxious currently.
It's fine. I don't mind the character. I just feel like at this point, because it's been going so long with this back and forth with Corbin, that it's just overplayed at this point, and I do think he does need a character change. Like, I feel bad for it too, because like I was not expecting it to be Madcap Moss of the two. Who was it? Santino? Was that his partner in NXT? Am I misremembering that? No, I'm misremembering. I think I'm misremembering that. But he was not the one that I expected to stick around. So like I like seeing him, but I do think this character has just kind of. I think it's really the plot. I think it's just the storyline. I'm done with the storyline. I'm tired of seeing former best friends betray each other for dumb reasons and then leading into like kind of mediocre babyface versus heel moments.
Yeah. I think, I mean, him coming out and just doing not very good jokes and then saying like, you know, he wants to replace title belts with title suspenders. I'm like, shut up.
I mean, at least they like is because they don't normally let them call them belts, right?
No, they don't.
I thought that was kind of
instances of that on this show. When
I thought that was weird.
Changed title belts to title suspenders, and then after Corbin beat him up, spoilers, Corbin beat him up. Corbin then said, where you're going, they're calling it the Mosspital. And I was like, they don't say hospital either. They don't. That's also a bad.
So interesting. I wonder if they're just using them for like hey, we're saying the words that we don't normally say to make it edgy.
It could be that. It could also be because they wanted to do puns.
That's also probably likely because they couldn't do really suspender. What do they normally call them? Championships? Suspender championships?
That
would not sound as weird.
Yeah,
that would not sound as. Yeah, it wouldn't be as good.
Yeah, the pun wouldn't have worked. But they should have done a local Mossical facility because that would have been way better. So Moss was doing a promo. Corbin comes out and attacks him. Annoyingly, they had a really good spot, which was when Corbin wrapped a chair around Moss's neck and dropped the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal Trophy. There's so many words in that. Onto the chair.
Yes.
Which went into Moss's neck, which is a really cool spot. I just don't care about the people involved. Which
I also, for me personally, I am so over this person is getting stretched out on a stretcher for a match ending. Like I feel like that is so overplayed. They do it all of the time. And I'm like, could you stop acting like you're hurting the necks of every single one of your wrestlers, please? Like, that is an actual thing, and stop it. Like, don't do that.
Yeah. No, that's totally fair. It didn't bother me too much, I really like the spot, but it's like,
I love the spot. I just didn't like the exit. Like I just whenever they do that, they end up leading into that exit, and I'm so tired of it. I think it's just every time I tune in to anything WWE, there's always a stretcher. And I'm like, why do you guys need so many of these? Be safer.
Just be safer, idiots. They had a decent spot, but I still don't care, is the sum total of that segment.
Basically.
We then got a women's tag title match with Shayna Baszler and Natalya versus Banks and Naomi, which I thought was a decent match.
I loved it, but I also love Shayna, and she came out in Space Wolf themed gear, and I was just like, yes! Because I think this is new. I don't think I've seen Space Wolf from her before. So I'm like, I love whenever she does her like Space Marine themed ring gear. It was amazing.
Yeah, I was expecting you to talk for a lot longer than that. I'll be honest.
I could, but actually the problem is, okay, so here's the thing. Space Wolves are my least favorite faction within the 40K like universe. So because one of my favorites are the Thousand Sons, and the Space Wolves are very against them, and therefore I don't like their little puppy ears. But they are very, very well loved in the community. It was honestly, I'm surprised she hasn't done Space Wolves prior to this. And it was one of her better, I think, like, it's because they have a wolf head. They have a lot more opportunity for emblems and everything. So I think the gear looked awesome because of just who she was specifically calling out. And if you check out her Instagram, she has a picture of one of the Marines like next to her, because she always does that. Just so good.
It's very cool. We'll agree to that one. I thought this match was fine. There was nothing super special about the match itself. Not bad by any means. I thought it flowed decently well, and there was good pacing, and it wasn't botchy or anything. It was a fine, solid match.
I completely agree. Like I have a higher bias towards it just because I really like Shayna. But yeah, no, I thought the match was really solid. Everybody like did a great job, honestly.
Yeah. I would say it's like the majority of how I feel about Rampage, in that it's good, solid. Nothing really progressed too much, but it was enjoyable, fun, solid stuff. And that's what this match was for me.
Exactly.
It was all right. I thoroughly enjoyed the next backstage segment, though, with Drew Gulak speaking to Ricochet, and Ricochet being like, hey, man, the only person that can turn around your headspace is you. You're the person that's getting in your own way, so you need to figure yourself out, and then maybe you can pick yourself up. I thought I was going to quit. Now I've got the Intercontinental title. I forgot he was the champion, but that's
I did too. I was like, oh, I forgot he had a belt.
Yeah,
because they never talk about him. Like, am I crazy with that? Like, I feel like they never mention Ricochet having the Intercontinental.
They had a decent little run. I think it was about 3 weeks after he won the belt, where he was just having title matches and he was just getting wins, and it was good. And then they just stopped.
Weird.
And then they just never mentioned him again.
I don't understand why. Like, I mean, he's got a belt. Use it.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Use him. He's one of your champions. Come on, guys.
Yeah, it's crazy to me, and it's Ricochet.
No, it's Ricochet. Goddamn.
Yeah. But Gulak then is like, yeah, you're right. The next time I see Gunther, the next time I see Walter, I'm not going to let him chop me down to size. I'm going to tell him what's what. Yeah. And he walks off down the corridor, goes around the corner, and it's Walter immediately right there.
Immediately.
Who literally rips his t-shirt off.
Which was the best part.
Just a massive chop to him in the back. It was amazing.
It was. Although I think Walter needs a slightly smaller jacket now. He looks like he's swimming in it. He's just like slimmed down so much.
Yeah.
Like that was the one thing that kind of took me out of the moment was I was just like, wow, he is just engulfed in that red jacket.
It's like the Red Sea.
It was.
Anyway, Yeah, no, I really enjoyed
But it was
segment.
a fun segment.
It's got a water chop in it.
Exactly.
How can I not like it?
Exactly.
Like, jeez.
God, I wish they would call him Walter again. I don't understand the name change. I really don't.
They do still call him Walter, Angela. They never changed his name.
Really?
Never. They didn't change it.
They didn't change it.
Ever.
I gotcha. I understand, Pete.
His name is still Walter.
It is.
We then had Kofi Kingston versus Butch. Okay. So, as the New Day came out for this match with Kofi Kingston, this segment, I know a lot of people really like Pat McAfee. I thought he was really obnoxious in this segment in particular. Anything to do with Sheamus and the whole Fight Night stuff, it's already a bit annoying because he's screaming about Fight Night, and I was a bit like, Pat,
please stop.
Turn it down a little bit. But then on this one, it's like, as New Day were coming in, he was like, where's Butch? It's like, he's in the match. We know where he is, Pat. Shut up. And like, in this match, Butch hits the bitter end, and he goes, what was that? It's like, you know, Pete Dunne was in your crew in NXT. You know, right? Pat, you know what the bitter end is. Stop it. Anyway, this match was fine. There was not much to it. The Butch was being Butch. It was okay. He hit the bitter end and won, which is
and then left
fine.
And then came back. I don't understand that. Like,
I don't get it.
I don't. I know, like, because I know since he's been called Butch, God, WWE, your naming conventions are terrible. They are, like, why? Why would you call him that? Like, what was wrong with Pete Dunne? If you're gonna at least, like, just call him Dunne or Pete, one of the two. If you're gonna do that to everybody else, please just be better. But like, I don't know what that was about. Like, I don't really get this character specifically. I mean, I do kind of, but like, he doesn't speak much, which is weird because he speaks fine. He keeps leaving and coming back. Like, I just don't get it. Do you understand it at all?
Not even a little bit.
Explain it to me.
Because before, I understood a little bit because they kept saying on commentary, they're like, oh, he's a spoiled, petulant child, which is a bad character, but at least it's a character, right?
I guess.
So he beats people up and then he like storms off because he's just like, oh, he's grumpy. And I was like, that's a bad character, but at least it's a character, right?
It doesn't read that way, though.
It's very stupid. But then in this one, he won the match and was happy, then ran away up through the crowd.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, well, I guess Butch is gone again. That's just what he does, I suppose. And then Sheamus and Holland went up to the stage, and then he came back down further in the crowd, and then celebrated with Sheamus and Holland on the stage. And I was like, so what's the character here? Because I don't know what it is anymore.
So the way that it reads to me, like at least this particular segment, was he's acting kind of like a almost feral child. And I feel like Sheamus and them are trying to like reacclimate him to society. Like, that's the impression I get from this weird back and forth segment of him leaving, him like not wanting to say, even if he won, and having these weird attitude problems. Like, it just really reminds me of those stories of like kids who were raised by wolves and then being entered into society. And that is kind of the impression I get. And I'm like, is this just because he was previously a bear? And so you're like treating him like a wild animal that he needs to be like acclimated to human society or wrestling society so that he can know how to perform in his matches? Like, I don't get it, but that's the only logical explanation I can have. So that's my canon. I've accepted it.
That's more thought than I've put into it, because I've just gone, I don't get it. And then moved on.
I need an explanation because I like Pete Dunne too much to like to otherwise have this really weird behavior, other than it just being he's pissed off at what they're doing to him and he's just rebelling, but then being told to go back out. That's the other explanation.
I don't understand.
It doesn't make sense.
No, it really doesn't. Sami Zayn is backstage with Paul Heyman. More Sami Zayn on these shows. Thumbs up from me. Interactions between Sami and Paul Heyman, give me more of them because they're both great.
Yes.
Sami is essentially just trying to make sure that Roman isn't mad at him because he accepted the auto match earlier in the night. And he was like, I just want to make sure that Roman's okay. And like, I was looking out for the bloodline and everything that I did and all that stuff. And it was really funny interaction. And Paul Heyman's like, hey, Sami, chill out. The tribal chief still appreciates you. And he's like, yes. As like he walks away into the locker room, he's like, I've still got Roman's respect.
No, it was a great follow-up to the segment. Like, I loved it. Like, basically everything involving Sami, RK-Bro, and Bloodline on this segment was pretty decent, I think, if not excellent.
Yes, I agree. And then we had the main event segment. I have written in my notes, I'm going to apologize in advance to editor Vinny, who has to edit the audio podcast version of this show. And I'm going to apologize to anyone who doesn't have their swear jar emotes ready. I've just written in my notes, Pat, please shut the fuck up. And I don't know what I wrote that for.
Maybe it was reference to the other segment?
No, this was for this one. I don't know what he did. Probably something to do with Roman.
Probably. I mean, he's my least favorite of their commentators right now.
He's not very good. I don't like him. I know a lot of people really like him, and I don't like him.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize people like. I kind of like every time I've heard him, I'm like, I just find this guy really annoying to listen to.
Right. He just needs to like tone it down a little bit. He has funny moments, but like just tone it down. He's trying like to be on like firing on all cylinders at all times. I feel like with his every statement he makes. Yeah. Anyway, just read that note and it made me laugh. Roman comes out with the bloodline and says that there's no one next for him, but hey, the Usos might have someone because they've still got an open challenge waiting from RK-Bro. RK-Bro came out and Roman, for once, let the Usos decide for themselves what they should do. Instead of Roman calling the shots and being like, here's what I want you to do, here's this match that I'm going to make for you, he said, I'm going to let you guys choose. And the Usos accepted the challenge, which I thought they were going to play up that Roman was annoyed that they accepted the challenge, but they kind of didn't.
No, they really didn't. Weird. They just let them make the choice.
Yeah.
Which it does seem kind of weird in context, especially with, Roman's whole thing of I'm the head of the table, I am the tribal chief, I am the end all be all of all decision making in this family. So it does seem a little weird that he didn't do some sort of follow up and get annoyed that they accepted, especially. But you know what it is? It's because it's because Roman wants to have all of the belts on the family and unify them, because then he's like, well, I've now taken everything from everyone, and I think that's probably why he didn't.
See, the thing is, I agree with you, and I think that makes a lot of sense for Roman's character if he just wants all the gold and he wants all the stuff. But the thing is, they had a tag title unification match set up for Backlash that Roman then interfered and made not happen. So who wants what? I don't know.
He's just very wishy-washy, and now he's decided that he does in fact want all of the gold to be over on family's shoulders, I guess. But that is kind of weird, because I forgot that, honestly, I don't know why I forgot that, but I had forgotten that he kind of denied them the unification match before, and now they're letting
weird.
That to me then just says that WWE decided, no, we have to do this, and they've just pivoted. And then they're like, well, let's use this to make the Usos feel like they have some sort of power within the family, so that eventually when I assume Roman inevitably leaves the company in like a year or something like that, they can lead some of these moments into the Usos breaking up with Roman in regards to like the whole family falling out, and they'll be able to use it, I guess.
Sure.
Maybe.
If we're looking at this optimistically, yes, I'll agree with you. Yeah. I personally have no faith that this title unification match is happening, because it didn't happen the last time they advertised it. I think it's either not going to happen, or it will happen and it'll end in a DQ and everyone keeps their belts, and there won't be any unification. It will just be a match that happens.
Maybe I could see that also being the case. I'm gonna hold on to my optimism and say that they're going to use it in a storyline later, and they're actually going to unify the belts and do something crazy.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be amazing. Please.
But anyway, that was the show, which I thought was mostly fine. Yeah. There was some bad stuff in it, but you know what? There was some good stuff in it, and that's better than normal. So, like a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I think that's
cool.
I think that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
I think it started well. It ended fine.
Yeah.
They still had like my favorite like groups there, so that was good in both segments. Yeah, I think it was fine. A 3 out of 5.
Yeah. We'd really like to know what Roman's doing with his belt, but
yeah,
I guess we can't have that.
No, he's gonna keep it a secret until he's ready to tell us as the tribal chief.
Sure, whatever. Anyway, let's move on to talking about Rampage.
Woo!
Which started off with a trios match of Death Triangle versus Butcher Blade and Mark Quinn, which was a very fun match.
Yes,
Reunited
it was.
Death Triangle, bunch of fun.
My favorite team.
Big fan of Death Triangle. I love all of them.
I love all of them too.
Also, underrated theme music. That's what I'll say for Death
They
Triangle.
have a fantastic theme music. Their logo is great. Like, I love the 3 triangle. I don't know if they still use this one. I have one of their like first shirts when they first established, but it's the 3 skulls in the triangle, which is also a Nurgle symbol from Warhammer 40k. So it's one of the other reasons I really, really like them.
Yeah.
But they also are just all fantastic. Like, I love every single one of them, and they all do great stuff together as well as solo. And it's so good. So
fun. This match was just fun. That's what the match was. It was just designed to make, hey, do you remember Death Triangle? Do you remember they're really fun? Here's some fun.
I also want them to have like when they eventually get the 3-way belts, like for the triple teams, I need them to win it. I need them to win it so badly.
Yeah. I really enjoyed Kyle O'Reilly was in the crowd watching this match because he's going to be facing Phoenix in the Owen Hart Cup. Him taking notes. He's on the screen for about 3 seconds, but boy, howdy, did he capitalize on those 3 seconds.
He did.
He's a funny man.
He is. I actually really like Kyle O'Reilly. Of everybody in Undisputed Era, when they were in NXT, outside of Adam Cole, he was the one that I didn't expect to like the most, but holy cow, he's hilarious.
He's so good, isn't
he?
I love him. Yeah. So this match was really good. Pat got the Black Arrow and got the pinfall victory. My this is a very minor criticism or nitpick, I suppose, of this match. I would have thought that given that this is Phoenix's big return and Death Triangle reunited, and the fact that you've got Kyle O'Reilly versus Phoenix in the Owen Hart Cup next week, I would have thought that this match would have been positioned around Phoenix. Give Phoenix the hot tag, give Phoenix the pinfall victory, like have him showcase more, because what he did in this match was he got worked over. That was Phoenix's role in this match, which I was like, I would have thought you'd have given that to someone else in this match, but it was fine, I guess.
It's interesting. I mean, I think I'm okay with it because when Phoenix actually returned, he did get the pinfall, and like they did already do that. So I think because of the very short segment with Kyle O'Reilly, I think it was more for that angle of like establishing these two are going to be like evenly matched. They have to like take notes on each other, you know, that kind of thing. So I think it's more for that. And I think I'm okay with it. Like, I don't think it hurt Phoenix at all.
No, it didn't at all. I just figured it would have been maybe a better.
And I also like Pac getting the win. Also because like I feel like he doesn't. I don't know. Pac doesn't. I feel like wrestle as often because he ends up like back home in England a lot. So he ends up like not being around for stuff. So I think like that might be the other reason they gave Pac the win over Phoenix, because like Phoenix is, despite his being out for an injury, does actually get a lot more like pinfalls and wins than say Pac does.
Yeah, no, that's very fair. Afterwards, we went straight into Shawn Spears versus Bear Boulder. Shawn Spears being the giant killer these days, hit a nice looking C4 to Boulder. This was a very quick match. Cool.
But very good, I thought.
Like, yeah. It was good.
It was
bit of fun.
I loved it. Also, I'm very impressed that like Shawn Spears was it power bombed?
Oh, he did the C4, didn't he?
Yeah, sorry, he did the C4. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I couldn't remember the move name. No, I was just impressed. Like it looked good.
Yeah. Well, it's very, very good. Mark Sterling and Tony Nese are backstage. I wasn't sold on this act to start with, but it's growing on me. I'm liking more and more the pairing of Tony Nese and Mark Sterling. And
I think Mark Sterling with anybody at this point. Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to say that I think Mark Sterling with anybody at this point, he just has such a like presence that helps elevate anybody he's working with. And it just, in my opinion, works very well.
Yeah, I think he's doing some really good work here. And I like that Tony Nese is saying that he squashed Danhausen and now Hook's getting in his way. He can take on both of them because they're going to have on the buy-in at Double or Nothing, it's going to be Mark Sterling and Tony Nese versus Hookhausen.
Yes,
that's a bit of fun. I think
good.
that's going to be quite enjoyable, I would assume. Tony says that he's so confident that Mark Sterling should put 10K on them in Vegas, and I just like that as he walks off, he just goes, "It's a lot of money," and it's just the interviewer, I can't remember her name, sorry, and she goes, "It is a lot of money." Just as little comments as they walk off, it's very, very good.
It is
bit of fun that. We then had I'm
just thinking about Hookhausen.
Oh, aren't we always? We then had Riho versus Ruby Soho in the Owen Hart Cup. I really liked. There was a couple of very small moments in this match that I really enjoyed, which was I'm a huge fan of psychological storytelling and the psychology of how matches are structured. And I really like that Ruby Soho tweaked her knee off jumping off the middle rope, I think it was. Landed on a knee and was just like, oof, tweaked the knee. And almost instantaneously afterwards, Riho locked in a single leg Boston Crab on that knee that she just tweaked. I'm like, perfect.
No, it was great.
That's amazing.
It was so good.
Yeah. This was a very, very fun match. Really, really well paced, I thought, as well.
Yeah.
And Ruby Soho managed to get the victory in the end after just like all the moves back to back, because she just hit one, pin, kick out of two, hit another, pinfall, kick out of two, and it just kept going with no pauses. And she just hit move, and then got the win in the end. It was very, very good.
Thought, which was great, because I also feel like it really maintained like Riho as like a presence, even though she lost, which was fantastic.
Yes. Thoroughly agree. This was a bunch of fun. I think the right person won as well. No disrespect to Riho. I think Soho should be going far in this tournament.
Agreed. I am a huge fan of Ruby. I really want to see her do more. I want to see her get a belt eventually. And I don't know if she's gonna win this one, like win the tournament or anything, but I definitely think she should get as close to the end as possible.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. We then had a backstage segment with the Gunn Club and the Acclaimed. Now, I don't know what's happening here, but I think I enjoy it. Maybe. So Billy Gunn was talking to Gunn Club and the Acclaimed, and basically the gag of the segment was that he preferred all the stuff that the Acclaimed already had. He was like, okay, we're a team now, we're a faction, we need like a catchphrase. And they started saying, we got 2 words for you. He's like, no, that will never get over. And the Acclaimed are like, what about yo, listen? He's like, that's great, that's perfect, I love it. He's like, we need like a hand gesture. And he's like, what if we put 2 hands up and then we go like, and he's like, no, stop it, that'll never get over. And then it's just the Acclaimed doing their scissoring thing, which is great. And he's like, that's great, perfect, we'll keep doing that. And then he's saying, and I've got a lot of power backstage here, so I've got you a match. And they're like, on Dynamite, Rampage, Double or Nothing. And he goes, Monday on Elevation. And they're like, yeah. Which, like, I don't know how to feel about that. Are they openly like just mocking their own product? I don't know. Is that right?
I don't think they are. I think they're just being, I mean, maybe they are. Maybe that is what they're doing, but it works so well. And I never realized that I wanted them to all team together and be involved, but like, oh my God, I love the Gunn Club with the Acclaimed. It's such a good pairing. Yeah.
This was weirdly really good. And I really liked the dynamic of the kids being like, oh, daddy, like pick me, to Billy Gunn and him being like, no, I'm gonna side with these guys over here. It was good.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Weird that I liked this segment, but it was very fun. We then had Jade Cargill coming out for an in-ring interview segment. Now, Angela, we were talking a little bit before we started this show. Would you like to reveal to everyone the revelation that you came to about Jade Cargill and the baddies in this segment?
Oh, yes. They're Powerpuff Girls. They're totally wearing Powerpuff Girl colors, because Red Velvet's in blue, Jade was in green, and then I am blanking on
Kira Hogan, wasn't it?
Kira Hogan, thank you. Sorry, was in red, and so like they just, or I guess pinkish color tone, and so they were Powerpuff Girls, and I absolutely I love everything about the baddies. I love the baddie like section. I love everything that they've been doing. I just also adore Jade Cargill. I think she's insanely cool. Like she's just so cool to me. Also, just a badass woman. Like,
yeah, as a whole, Jade Cargill is amazing. And I genuinely think, like, you know how I think it was it on the Royal Rumble live reactions that you were on, where you freaked out about Sasha Banks's outfit that she was wearing? It was the Sailor Moon one, right?
Yes.
Yeah. There's that. I've never had a reaction to someone's gear in particular, been like, "Oh, that's cool," or like, "That's nice," in particular. But there was one time I have outwardly like marked out about someone's gear, and that was Jade Cargill's gear at Revolution, when she came out as Jade from Mortal Kombat. I was like, oh my god, she's the greatest.
Good. I love when pro wrestlers cosplay essentially with their gear. It's my favorite thing. I will always call it out because that's one of the first things I notice, because I love their in general, I just am a huge fan of pro wrestling gear. I think it's really fun. I think it's just because it all feels like cosplay material anyways. So and that's very much in my wheelhouse of things that I enjoy. Yeah, I love everything that Jade has ever done with her costumes. And all of her outfits too. Because like I know she did the Mortal Kombat one, which was fantastic. Have you seen some of her like backstage outfits for when I'm sure you probably have, where she's been like, she had an outfit on the other day where it basically looked like she was not wearing anything. And I loved it. Like, because I'm like, I don't feel like anyone else could pull that off, get away with it, and like still have their segments go through and everything, but she just so good.
Yeah, no, she's amazing, and I like that she seems to be getting more and more confident with her role and her character as well now in promo segments of being like, you know, just coming out, cutting off Mark Sterling, cutting off Tony Schiavone and all that stuff. Him announcing that Hikaru Shida was injured. She's not really. There was a whole thing about that she's not actually injured. She just couldn't get back to the US on time to get medically cleared after her Philly street fight, etc. But she's being replaced in the Owen Hart tournament by Chris Statlander, who's going to be facing Red Velvet, which is good because of their shared history in the past as well, which is a very good replacement, I thought. Bit of fun, very quick segment, but good for what it needed to be.
Do you think this is going to change who's going to win that match? Because I don't know who was originally planned to win the Shida versus Red Velvet, but I don't know. Like, I now am really less sure because I don't know who of them they want to. I assume it's going to be Red Velvet because I feel like they want to continue to focus on the baddies and Jade's group and actually elevate the three of them a bit more, because they've been doing such great work recently. Like, I really love this little faction that they've formed because it just, I don't know, I feel like it works well and it's elevating all three of them.
I still think that Red Velvet's winning, and I think she was going to beat Shida anyway. Because I think that maybe through distraction, maybe through shenanigans. I would personally not have it through shenanigans. I would have Red Velvet just win.
I do too. I want that to happen. I don't feel like Red Velvet's gotten too many just like wins.
Exactly, yeah. And I think the story you could tell of her like finding her feet now she's found like Jade Cargill and the baddies and stuff is a solid enough story to have her win properly and not kind of take away from Statlander. So yeah, I think that would work if she just beats her clean. We then had the main event, Scorpio Sky versus Frankie Kazarian, which was fun. Yeah. Once again, these guys are really good wrestlers, and they obviously know each other so well. Their shared history and all that really aiding the story of this match. Obviously for the TNT title, I didn't mention, but the setup for this match was in the pre-match promo. Scorpio Sky telling Ethan Page and Dan Lambert, being like, stop talking trash about Frankie Kazarian. He's my bud. Go take the night off. We're going to have a great match. I'm going to put respect back on the TNT title's name. And it kind of furthered that whole, like, Scorpio Sky is a face and Ethan Page and Dan Lambert are the heels, and there's some sort of tension between them, and there might be a split coming and all that stuff. And that was the setup that was set up in the pre-match promo. Yep. Through the match, they just had, like, a match. It was just two guys going out and putting on a really fun match, and it was a very fun match. It was great. There was a very, very cleverly worked spot in which Sky passed out in the chicken wing. Dan Lambert then came out, distracted the referee. Ethan Page came out and whacked Frankie Kazarian in the back with the TNT title belt. But obviously Scorpio Sky, who was passed out, didn't know that Ethan Page had done that. Yes. He then falls on Kazarian and gets a very, very close near fall, which was awesome. Manages to get up, hits a TKO, 1, 2, 3, Scorpio Sky retains, which I thought was a very, very cleverly worked spot because they're continuing that kind of like tension between Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. Page working like behind Scorpio's back, like he said, to take the night off, and he didn't. Came out and helped without Scorpio Sky winning. He won without realizing he was taking advantage of something Ethan Page had done. There was a lot of like really interesting elements of play here.
Yep.
And then I feel like they dropped the ball a little bit on the post-match angle.
It does
Wasn't
seem
a huge fan.
Yeah. I think I kind of agree with you at this point. Because at first I felt like it was fine, like thinking about the match and everything previously. But I really agreed. Like do you want to say what happened afterwards? So we can actually talk about like the actual segment. Because I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, because it was a little bit muddy because it started off with Scorpio Sky trying to get Kazarian on his feet, being like, hey, everyone, well done to Kazarian. He put up a great fight, all that stuff. And Frankie was like, dude, did you not see what Ethan Page did? Like, he hit me with the belt. And Scorpio's like, wait, really? Went over to Ethan Page. He's like, did you hit him with a thing? And he was like, hey, man, don't come at me. And he was like, no. Did you? This was all off mic. It was a lot of gestures and talking and stuff. But
it was a lot of Ethan Page like holding his head away and being like, no, man, I didn't.
No, I didn't do anything. What are you talking about? But eventually he kind of like owns up to it. He grabs a microphone and he's like, yeah, all right, I did it. I did it for the team. This is for you. This is for the TNT title. Whose team are you on? And Scorpio Sky, they're getting each other like nose to nose, staring each other down. And then Scorpio Sky comes in and then just clocks Frankie with the TNT belt. And then Ethan says off mic, I love it when a plan comes together, which then indicates that this was the plan all along, was to pretend to Frankie that Scorpio was leaving them, except he wasn't. So then that they could hit him with the belt after the match that Scorpio had already won. And also Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti were there. And then they came in the ring and were baby faces, ?
Yeah, that was a little weird. And I don't really know what it was. This was a weird segment. Like I am prepared and I'm fine with the Men of the Year eventually breaking up. I'm glad that it didn't happen at this moment because I think it is too early. Like I feel like they still have a lot more that they can do together. So I am glad that like Scorpio didn't, go back with Kazarian and actually like leave Men of the Year. But I do feel like some of the dialogue and like emoting that was happening during the end segment did not make sense, like you said. Because like it just why betray him suddenly? Like, or why say it was the plan if Scorpio had no idea and and he's acting like I mean, I guess maybe that's the point, is he was just supposed to be acting like it, but it still doesn't make sense for like the betrayal to Frankie.
Yeah, it all was a bit weird to me. And I think that what the TNT title scene needs more than anything right now is a bit of stability and a bit of stuff that makes sense, because it's been obviously in turmoil for quite a while. There was obviously the Sami Cody situation, which was turbulent as hell and a few title changes, and then Cody left, so he had to drop the title again. And then there was the Sami and Ty pairing, which fans did not react the way that Tony Khan thought. So then they kind of turned them heel, which has made it a bit weird. So then American Top Team have essentially kind of become de facto baby faces in this feud, but now they're still very much heels. And then there was a title change to Scorpio Sky, and it's all been really, really turbulent for a while. So I think what the title scene really needs is a bit of like stability and normality for a little while. And I don't think this helped. It felt very, very overbooked. It was just very weird.
Yeah, I agree. And I really do think it's all tied to everything that was kind of happening with Cody, with the belt being split and everything. Like, I just feel like the entire TNT belt has kind of weirdly lost some meaning, unfortunately, because of it all. And honestly, like, I mean, I can tell you why Sami and Taya's faces didn't work, because Sami sucks as a face. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I love the man. His vlog is fantastic. He's a fantastic wrestler. He sucks as a face. Like, he's just so live, laugh, love, like vomit of like, God, everything he says.
Such a good way to put it. He is live, laugh, love. He really is.
He is like, he just is such a, like, here's a saying, I'm going to repeat it 100 times because it's the only thing I know how to do, and I'm going to try to be positive. And that is his face character, and it's just so dull to me. Whereas at least with them being heels now, and I think this is the problem, they want both Men of the Year and Sami and Tay to be heels, but both of them are still very heavily involved with the TNT Championship, and so it's awkward to have two heels going after it because that's not always, like, you know, the best narrative. And I think it has completely just fallen through. And then they have added Frankie in to, I think, try to, like, reestablish the Men of the Year as heels. And it just didn't, I think, function the way that they intended it to, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it was a fun match and it was a decent main event to this show, but everything just feels very, very muddied right now with a lot of, like, weird dynamics and characters not quite making sense and a lot of the booking potentially not being as good as the thing is, it's fine booking. It's just not what we expect from AEW, who has a very good track record of very, very good booking. So this is like, in the same way that SmackDown was better than normal because it was fine, this is now it's worse than normal for AEW because it was just good rather than great, and it's an important distinction. But overall, though, it was a fine episode of Rampage. Something that I did note on this episode that I've been noticing for a couple of weeks that I've really felt in this episode was that a lot of stuff felt really, really rushed. They give the matches lots of time, but all the in-between stuff, they're all just like, we need to cram all of this into here. So it's like every backstage segment, maximum 30 seconds. Jade Cargill's coming out, we'll give her an entrance, and then the actual talking, like maybe 45 seconds. We're going to have this backstage segment. We're going to have Excalibur run down 22 matches in about 10 seconds. Excalibur, go! It was just, it feels like really, really fast-paced all the time, like they're rushing to get a lot of stuff in. And I feel like
the show's too short?
I think they're trying to put too much into the show. I think if they are having a 1 hour show, you need to just not have so much on it. I think they can, unlike the initial Rampages when you had 3 matches, that's the show. You've got 3 matches and maybe a couple of backstage segments thrown in there. Great. On this one, there was 4 matches, an in-ring segment, and 2 backstage segments.
Yeah, that's a lot for an hour.
It's a lot for an hour to just try and fit it all in. And, you know, fair enough, they give the matches a decent amount of time, which is good. You should be giving the matches lots of time. But I think you need time to let those matches breathe as well. And like that, obviously at the start of the show, they're already cutting out the entrances. The end of the show, it very much does just kind of like finish. Like you have the end of the match, you have some sort of post-match angle if you have it that will last maybe 30 seconds tops, and then the show just ends. That's it. Nothing really feels like it has the room to breathe properly. So it's not a huge deal, but it's just like a slight thing that kind of takes me out of the show a little bit. It's just be like, just slow down a little bit.
Yeah, well, and if they do that every time, that can over time like wear on the audience though, and just make them possibly turn away from the programming because they feel like it's too much like being crammed down their throat at once, you know?
Yeah, totally. Like I said, it's not a huge deal. It's just like a little thing that just kind of I noticed more this week more than normal, which hopefully isn't a trend that I wonder
if that's just because of the Owen Hart like classic going on right now, because they're adding in extra matches for that, and or trying to establish like storylines around them on Rampage from it and everything. So maybe that like it'll settle down a bit once they're out of that tournament.
It's very possible. Very possible. Yeah, good call. But before we get into the rest of your Ultrachats, I forgot we have to do another thing, Angela, that I did not tell you about. Which was we have to do our Patreon shout outs for our lovely Patreon backers, which I'm going to link to you in a second.
Cool.
So if you haven't been to our Patreon page, patreon.com/WrestleTalk, you should. Because there's a load of extra awesome bonus content. There's loads of really cool stuff on the Patreon. This month for WrestleTalk Extra, Luke and Ollie will be reviewing Judgment Day 2002, which is Edge Kurt Angle hair versus hair match. Bit of fun. Undertaker versus Hulk Hogan. Yeah. But, you know, it's something. So yeah, it's going to be a fun show for them to review.
Absolutely.
So check out the Patreon page. And if you pledge at the $25 or above tier, you get your own custom wrestling nickname and it gets read out on a show, much like this one. So, thank you to Viernes el 13º, Jason Gutierrez. Thank you.
Yanni Zayn, Hammett.
Thank you. Probably better than Kyle, Philip O'Reilly. Thank you very much.
The Overstepper, James Nepper.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The Machine Gun, Alex Anderson.
Michael Mark for Life Plowman.
Yo, Adrian! Rocky.
Yeah. Send Me to Heaven, Evan Reich.
Nice. Thank you very much. Not Eugene, Andrew Dinsmore. Thank you so much.
A Baker's Dozen, 9 of 13.
Thank you so much. King R.K. Jones. Yes. Thank you.
And the real boss, Matt Robinson.
Yay! Thank you so much, all of our Pledgehammers over on our Patreon page. Go check that out at patreon.com/WrestleTalk. Now let's do the final lot of your Ultrachats here. It seems like there's only one more, which is Lakshmi Narasimhan, unless my thing just hasn't updated, who says, is Butch the new lunatic fringe? But overall, sounds like a decent SmackDown. Wasn't completely into Rampage today for some reason. Why don't you guys try giving an Ollie rating for today's episodes? No, because Ollie's ratings are stupid. No, I don't agree with him. He does percentages, if you weren't aware. Angela.
I am aware,
stupid.
and I don't understand why he's doing that. Like his logic doesn't make sense.
The comments have got to him. That's what it is. The comments have got to him of all of them saying, why aren't you rating this a 5, Ollie? He's like, I'll tell you why, because of this, 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 and this. And he's done percentages to show why it's not a 5, which to me doesn't make sense because he's given a lot of shows 90% plus, which to me sounds like a 5.
Yeah. I mean, he's just grading it on like a normal grading system too. So it's just like, I wish you know what he should have done? He should have just switched it over to like S rank for your top tier and then A, B, C, D, F or whatever. Like he should have done that and just been letters. That way he completely gets away from the numbers and can just be that different and have it work.
Yep.
And it'll be simpler.
100% agree. Yeah, exactly. Well, I think that's actually all the Ultra Chats for today, which means that's going to do it for the show. Thank you, Angela, for stepping in to do this to do the show. Plug your stuff. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at hobby_night. You can also find me on YouTube at Hobby Night's channel. I do miniature painting. I cover tabletop gaming news. I do some Let's Play. I do model building. So if you're into that kind of nerdy stuff, definitely check out Hobby Night on YouTube. And
if you, of course, want to see more of Angela on our stuff, she's on No Rolls Barred quite a bit, doing Blood on the Clock Tower specifically quite a bit. So check that out.
Not recently, because you guys have gone to do some fancy things, but I look forward to eventually.
Speaking of which, I just want to double check something real quick, because on the subject of Blood on the Clock Tower, I just want to double check something real quick. Come on, work with me here, YouTube. Just load the thing quicker. Come on now. You can do the thing.
I believe in you, Internet.
Double check. Here we go. Okay, so we have just under 2 hours until the in-person episode of Blood on the Clock Tower airs on the No Rolls Barred YouTube channel, which genuinely is the biggest thing we have ever produced, ever. It is... I've seen little bits and pieces of it. I haven't seen the whole thing, but...
I've seen only the set, because I think Adam shared it with me, and I have known nothing else about it. I'm very excited to watch it. I'm sure it's going to be amazing.
Really something. It's genuinely incredible.
Did you get to play in it? I don't actually remember who all is supposed to be there. No, you didn't?
No, I didn't get to play in it. I'm really sad about it.
You should yell at Adam. And be like, how dare you?
I should yell at Adam. You're right.
Tell him that Angela said that I need to yell at you for not letting me be in Blood on the Clock Tower, because I think you'd be brilliant.
You know what? I'm gonna message him right now on WhatsApp. I'm just gonna open it up here real quick. Come on, internet. To Adam, where are you? Adam, why haven't I spoken to you in a while? Adam Blompier.
Can you speak to him in real life?
Angela has told me to yell at you for not including me in the in-person Blood on the Clock Tower Can't type episodes. So I'm
How
yelling at
dare.
you. How dare,
Exactly.
she said.
Yes.
There we go. All right, I did it. Anyway, if you haven't yet, go subscribe to the No Rolls Barred YouTube channel because that will be going live in under 2 hours. It's great.
Well, I know what I'm watching later.
Yeah, that's gonna be my evening. So yeah, go subscribe to that because this is really good. Anyway, thank you so much, Angela, for stepping into this episode, and thank you all for watching. Really do appreciate it. If you haven't yet for this channel, subscribe, like, watch more videos of ours. If you want to watch our Dynamite review from this week, go check that out with Ollie and Luke. It was actually Ollie and Luke this week that did Dynamite review. Go check that out. So yeah, it's go do the things, do the other stuff. I'm really bad at outros. Anyway,
it's okay.
I will see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, thanks, Angela. You did it.
And also,
sorry, I cut you off.
No, it's okay. I just said also get on board.
Get on board. Yeah, why not?
All of the sayings, all of the sayings for YouTube.